Hello everyone and welcome to Ocean Guidance. In our video today, we'll be undertaking the topic of testing of fuel injectors for generator engines. That is, the fuel injectors which are used on auxiliary engines. How do we test them before commissioning them or putting them into use? So let us start. Also, before we get ahead with the topic, I would like to inform that we have two earlier videos in the series where we have described in the first video about the different components of a fuel injector and also the working of a fuel injector of an auxiliary engine, and in the second video we have described in detail about the overhauling and the troubleshooting of such fuel injectors. So let us start. Now when I talk about the testing of a fuel injectors, the first thing that would come into our mind is the pressure testing, but only pressure testing is an incorrect terminology. There are several other tests of different nature that are involved within the overall testing of these fuel injectors. Before that, we need to understand that the primary job of a fuel injector is to atomize and inject fuel at a sufficiently high pressure so as to give rise to the perfect combustion. Now, within this explanation, I use the terminology atomization. So to achieve atomization, it has to be made sure that first of all the range of the pressure is adequate, and second, the pattern of the injection or the dissipation of the fuel into finely atomized particles is good enough. This means that it is very important for a fuel injector to reach the correct pressure prior to injection, also hold steady during the process of injection, and to have all other metrics in check. And thus the tests also revolve around this fact. So in continuation to our second video where we had overhauled and reassembled a fuel injector until the very end, now once I have an assembled fuel injector in my hand, how do I test it? So what I do with it is that I take it to the test bench first of all and mount it within the testing bench with the mounting tool and secure it properly. Now within the apparatus itself, I'll have a small tank like structure in which I'll have to use the diesel, or what we also regard as the MGO on board, and pour it into this tank and keep it properly purged. Now why diesel? Because being thinner in nature and having lower viscosity, if your injector works fine during testing on the MGO, it will definitely work just as equally well or even better under operating conditions with the VLSFO. The second important part would be the lever with which we are producing the pressurization action, and it is more or less like the reciprocating pumping action that we create against a very concentrated or very small opening which creates the pressure. The third part would be the entablature, or basically the bench upon which the instrument is resting, and the fourth would be the pressure gauge. It is important to know that these pressure gauges are of extremely high range and capacity and are usually calibrated to as high as 600 bars to cater to different types of designs of fuel injector, some of which operate at relatively very high pressures. A pipe then leads from the testing equipment into the fuel injector. Now let us understand how we go about the testing process. So first of all, our main aim should be to check the injection pressure, or what we regard as the pressure testing in a layman's language. So to perform the pressure testing, we need to create adequate pressure into the fuel injector so that the injection takes place at the right pressure, and this is done, as I said earlier, by the pumping of the lever. Now if let's say the pressure is not adequate, then depending upon the design, you can raise the injection pressure by tightening either by the tightening nut onto the body of the fuel injector for certain designs, or some injectors have a top end screw which can be tightened with a screwdriver or a dedicated spanner, and then this would simultaneously result in the rising of the pressure at which the injection is taking place. Now in case if it is of the screw type, you might see that the free length which is left on top after screwing this nut assembly on top is of a particular value, and this value is also present in the manuals. If the value of the free length has gone down below the prescribed value within the manual, what it would mean is that your injector is not going to develop the adequate pressure despite how much you go further tightening the screw. Similarly, for the tightening nut design, it is also prescribed depending upon how many number of turns for a new and for a used injector with a new guide and nozzle, or with a used guide and nozzle, how many number of turns have to take place. So accordingly we'll tighten or untighten. Now once upon pressurizing, the injector has reached the opening pressure, which is the minimum pressure at which the fuel will start to spray, it will inject, and this injection can be seen through a transparent but a well guarded bench underneath the injector itself, which is used to witness the injection quantity, pressure, timing, pattern and various other factors. Now, for instance, if you are testing the fuel injector of a Yanmar make generator which has 6EY18AL design, so you'll usually find it in the testing range of 290 to 310 bar, and a plus minus 10 bar value would suffice for the testing. However, if the measured opening pressure goes below 280, it can be as low as 270 and it would still be acceptable, but anything under this would mean that either your spring has worn down or your assembly is incorrect. During the pressure testing, it also needs to be remembered that the rise in pressure should be steady. So for a typical pressure rising and therefore simultaneous injection, the entire action would take at least 10 to 15 seconds to occur. In continuation to the same, you can also conduct the second test in conjunction with the first, which is the spray pattern test. So as I said, that visual observation through a well guarded transparent bench can help you analyze the spray pattern, and in some designs we also have the manufacturer's spray pattern paper provided, which can be well placed before the entire test take place into the bench area, and then upon injection, after safely dismounting the injector, this paper can be taken out and checked for the pattern that has formed. If heavier dribbling or leak takes place or after leak takes place, then you will see distorted pattern, or if a particular section of the injector is, let's say, injecting early because of the variable difference in the size of the nozzle holes through which the penetration and the subsequent atomization is taking place, it can also happen that the injection pattern would be variable. Having tested for these two parameters, the third in line would be the leak test or the leakage test. Within this, what we are testing is that how does the injector hold the pressure just below the opening pressure, and thus, as I already explained, that we'll take the injection pressure just below the opening value and keep it steady. And what that would mean is that there should be no leak or no dribbling of the nozzle, and under such condition the injector should hold for at least 10 seconds without any leak and without any simultaneous fall in pressure either. If any leak actually takes place, it means that the seating area is worn or the nozzle holes are also enlarged and thereby the pressure is not holding, and it can also mean that the movement of the needle is also sluggish. The last and another important test would be the back leak test. So basically it is like the fuel should not tag its way back. Now the testing process is very simple, and it basically explains that the opening pressure should be raised with the help of the pumping lever, and after the pressure is reached we should stop. Under this condition, the gauge now should steadily hold and display the value until which we have pumped for at least 5 to 7 seconds. Any rapid drop under this condition would suggest that your plunger side is worn, which basically means that the needle and the matching nozzle, the difference between the OD and the ID of former and the latter is now increased, and thereby it can either leak, or also in some cases if the spring tension is not enough, the pressure can not be sustained. If you would like a typical pressure and time pattern analysis, you will see that if you raise the injector as high as 300 bar, let's say it's an injector which is being tested at 300 bar, then for until 10 seconds of time it should not go less than 290 bar, and this value of 290 bar depends upon the prescribed value of the manufacturer for the particular design. So let's say if the manufacturer insists on testing the injector at 270 bar, for that range of pressure it can go, let's say, within 10 seconds below 255 bar as well. So there are different permutation and combinations. Now once the testing is done, then with the help of the purging nozzle available on the body, you can depressurize the system, and also there is a return line and the valve assembly on the back side of the bench, with which you can simply let go of the pressure, and after doing this you can safely dismount the injector. Make sure to wind this injector in a clean cloth if no dedicated storage is available on board, and if it is, then with the dedicated packing material to pack it very cleanly so that nozzle is not disturbed and the holes are not choked and there is no physical damage or harm that is caused onto the surface of the injector, and keep it only in the designated section where the storage of the injector needs to take place, preferably in a vertically hanging condition and far from most of the external dirt, ingress and other factors. I hope this helps you to understand the fuel injector testing process in detail, and if any doubts still persist, please feel free to reach out to us in the comment section or also on our Telegram channel. Also, do make sure to subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your colleagues to help us grow. Thank you.